Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I'm very pleased to be speaking on this matter of public importance, and particularly to highlight how this government, the Albanese Labor Government, governs for all Australians. And that's been our commitment since day one, since we were elected into government, particularly when you look at the long list of cost of living measures, and I will outline them soon. And those measures all were voted against by the Liberals and Nationals, consistently voted against every measure we had for cost of living relief for Australians who desperately need it. We saw that time and time again from them. And now, what's really disappointing in this matter of public importance, coming from the Deputy Leader of the Nationals, puts forward this and plays cheap politics, as we've consistently seen with the issue of fuel security, misleading people all the time. This is a time for bipartisanship. It is a time for everyone to work together, given the global uncertainty that we all face. And instead we see cheap political games from the Liberals and Nationals yet again. And they should be on Team Australia with all of us on the same page. But I think Australians have come to learn that all we get from the Liberals and Nationals is constant chaos all the time from them. But Australians know they can rely on the Albanese Labor Government when it comes to cost of living relief and also governing this country in the best interests of all Australians. And, Deputy Speaker, we saw today, we were all reminded that it was only a year ago, the Liberals and Nationals voted against tax cuts. No wonder Australians rejected them. They have no interest in the benefits of Australians, particularly those in regional and rural Australia, because I can tell you those tax cuts have made a huge difference for those people in regional Australia. Time and time again, we see them voting against the best interests of all Australians. Now, of course, Deputy Speaker, we are all very much closely following the events in the Middle East and seeing and feeling the consequences here at home. And the longer that conflict goes on, the more significant the impact will be on the global economy and the Australian economy. And it is front of mind for the entire government. And we are looking at every practical measure required to have in place. And we're focused on shielding Australians from the worst of the Middle East energy crisis and building our energy resilience. Now, we have taken very positive action to shore up fuel supply and ensure consumers get a fair go at the petrol pump. We've already boosted fuel supply by releasing 20% of the baseline minimum stockholding obligation for petrol and diesel. We've unlocked new sources of supply by amending the fuel standards. We've worked with the ACCC to authorise major fuel suppliers to get fuel to where it is needed in the regions and to ramp up fuel price monitoring. And we've set up the forums that are really needed for a coordinated response, including convening National Cabinet, tasking the National Coordination Mechanism and establishing a fuel security task force. We have immediately done these actions because we know we need to have an absolute focus on this issue. And this week we'll be empowering the ACCC by doubling penalties for false and misleading conduct and cartel behaviour, up to $100 million per offence. This government is acting swiftly because of the concerns. There is massive global uncertainty, but this government is acting swiftly because we need to have this in place. And we are indeed working around the clock and looking at all practical options that are available ever since this conflict began. Now, the opposition is very well aware of this, and as I said, they've chosen to play politics rather than be productive and get on board Team Australia. That's what they should be doing, not playing politics. And it's irresponsible and against the Australian interest for both the Liberals and Nationals and One Nation, in fact. Well, they're all one and the same now, aren't they? All of them. All they are doing is spreading falsehoods about fuel security. That is irresponsible to be constantly doing that for those Australians that are concerned. And it's against the interest, particularly of regional Australians too, to be pushing damaging falsehoods just to get some cheap political gain. But I think people are seeing through it and seeing through the fact that it's just cheap political agendas that they have. We are working to ensure that fuel flows at affordable prices as the supply chain comes under pressure and a massive increase in demand. And we're closely monitoring that situation and working with the states, the territories and industry as well every single day. We've heard here in question time from the Prime Minister, from the relevant ministers, exactly what is going on about this. And, we hear what I found appalling as well, the previous speaker made reference to health. Well, you remember their previous government, when it came to health, they wanted a GP tax. They cut millions from the health budget. They walk in here and have the audacity to lecture us about cost of living measures when they made every single cut that hurt Australians, particularly regional and rural Australians, hurt the most under the Liberal and National governments. And since we've been in government, we've had a massive range of programs to provide cost of living relief when Australians desperately need it. And we are working day and night when it comes to the very important issue of fuel security.